Hey there! This is Steph from GameReviewHQ.net for a first look at the game Tome. Tome is a fast-paced brawler type of MOBA developed by KixEye Incorporated. Here in Tome, the guardians of your choosing shall be in service of different gods, and your guardians are tasked to outlast all the other guardians in every battle. But before anything else, let's talk about the graphics and animation. The game isn't very impressive when it comes to the quality of its graphics, since it uses simple 3D graphics style that is similar to what most MOBAs use today. Since this genre has been around for quite some time, the animations are as what you expect. Nothing really groundbreaking when it comes to the animations. I personally noticed one problem, however, when it comes to the first guardian they make you play as, Car. Car uses a two-handed hammer and is similar to the tank classes around. However, I just noticed something odd in the way he walks and attacks. It doesn't look like the movement of a tank type character, and judging by this really early display, like him being the first character that the game lets you use, there could be some more that slip though. However, in contrast to that, some of the other guardians I've seen really move nicely. I saw this guardian that looked like it had tentacles and it moved quite gracefully. So this could be a case-to-case basis, I suppose. Now on to the heroes, or in this case the guardians the game lets you use. All of the guardians you can use are locked except for the one I previously mentioned, Car. Aside from him, the other guardians you can use can be unlocked gradually by playing PvP matches or co-op matches with real people against AIs. But it could be random, as there is a notification that if you already have that guardian unlocked, you will get devotion instead. Like other MOBAs, the guardians have roles that they have to fulfill well, but don't necessarily mean that they can't fulfill other roles given that they have the gear and the expertise for it. At the very least, this game has a handful of guardians you can try out and see which works best for you. There is also a free rotation system that lets players use guardians they don't own yet. It seems it's a growing trend in MOBAs now to have an illusion of progression, because it makes you imagine that you're unlocking something and makes you feel that you did something, unlike in Dota, that just lets you use everyone right off the bat. Customization is minimal in that you can only change the skin of the guardians. Nothing really noteworthy, but I think it's still a nice feature. When it comes to the story is practically non-existent, as it is with most MOBAs. Each of the guardians you use fight for a particular god, and I think that's basically it. There's nothing hinted to in or anything you could do, not a surprise for this genre in my opinion. Now on to leveling. In Tome you have multiple stuff to level up. First is your main account. It doesn't seem to do anything other than aid in matchmaking, where it finds you a game where your level is close to other players. This could be a bad thing, because if you are just starting out, the chances of you finding another match is really small. More on that later on though. Next is the Guardian's level. This is confusing because it is different from the level you have in a match. This is more like your proficiency with the Guardian. Leveling this seems to give you a similar bonus in all heroes. I mean, leveling this proficiency for a Guardian gives you 200 devotion at level 2, a dance move unique to that Guardian, and assorted items like skins and relics you can equip on your Guardian at levels 4, 5, 6, and 7. These rewards for the Guardian proficiency varies for each Guardian, so check their Guardian XP page to be sure. The other thing that can be leveled is your favor towards each of the gods. Remember when I mentioned that each of the Guardians represent a god? Well, in the domains page, you can see how much favors you have done for a god by using Guardians under it. By playing as a Guardian for a particular god, you can unlock certain perks to help you in your game. Some increase experience gain in battle, while some give you more gold per minion kill. It is advised that you check the pages mentioned if you want to focus on a particular set of Guardian and God partnership. The last type of level is actual game level. This doesn't seem to affect anything other than your basic stats, which is might, which determines how hard you hit, attack speed that affects how fast you hit, and movement speed, which is pretty self-explanatory because unlike others, 3 out of 4 skills are unlocked at level 1 and the 4th is unlocked at level 6. The community is either pretty dead or pretty far up in level. Because I've gone for minutes searching for a game, it could be that my account level is so low and the other players are high up. But if that is true, then that could mean that there are no new players. I've tried multiple times to get a game with people and just found one game. Although one good thing I noticed is that if you queue for a game and no matches are found, The game actually gives you AI players in place of real players while still holding the status of a non-practiced game. At least you can still attempt to unlock things, right? Perhaps this feature could have been in place by the game developers knowing that players will come in short supply. Gameplay. Here is where it attempts to differentiate itself from other MOBAs. It even has a slideshow in which it states that it is a MOBA that focuses on a quick game opposed to others that could take 40 minutes to an hour long. There is no shop in which you go to, just a button and you can buy anywhere on the map provided that you are not moving. And since we are talking about the shop, there are item recipes like other MOBAs do, but here it has been simplified a great deal. There are only a few items you can purchase and only 4 slots to store equipment on. It also removes the last hitting of most MOBAs and simplifies it to just being around the kill. The game starts almost immediately as well. There are also no healing items present in the game because it isn't needed. Why? Because staying out of combat triggers health regeneration. The towers can constantly attack and overheats it if it is under constant stress. When it overheats, it can't fire anymore and gets damaged very easily, and if anyone manages to destroy a tower, their minions get stronger. This can be done a maximum of 2 times. There is also a monster in the middle of the map which, if killed, gives the team's minions lifesteal properties. The map too is obviously minimalized. It only has 2 lanes, top and bottom. There are however 2 maps to choose from, the Colosseum and the Sanctuary. The Colosseum is a small 3 vs 3 map that focuses on real fast matches and has no jungle area in the middle. The other map is called Sanctuary. Sanctuary offers a much larger map with more towers and consists of a more typical lineup of 5 vs 5 and has a sort of a jungle in the middle where lanterns take the place of wards in Dota. Creeps are also presented and random power-ups scattered about, but it still consists only of 2 lanes. If you think the 3 vs 3 matches is going too fast for you or the map is too small, then try the 5 vs 5 one. Aside from those mentioned, it plays just like any other MOBA. It is just a really streamlined version of it meant for quick, short games. Experienced MOBA players, however, would easily grasp the mechanics, and a quick look at the skills of a Guardian will easily give them an idea of how and where to use these skills. For microtransactions, you can buy a currency called Platinum. Although the things you can buy are a starter pack, where it gives you 4 Guardians at the price of $5, an all Guardians pack that unlocks all the Guardians for you to use for about $50, and you can purchase skins for some characters using Platinum too. A premium mode could be enabled with the use of Platinum too. A premium account has a 50% boost in Devotion, Guardian XP, and Favor, and allows you to use all the Guardians and their skins. You need to pay to maintain this though, as you have a choice of a 1-day premium for 300 Platinum, 7 days for 1000 Platinum, and a month for 2000 Platinum. More could be added in the future, but as it stands, it doesn't seem so bad. Just go easy on this game as it isn't very stable and you may end up losing your investment if they decide to cancel it at any time. And now let me give you a rundown of the game's pros and cons. For the pros, this game focuses on short and quick games. Some people like that they don't have to spend a really long time in games like these, like me in particular. So it is nice that the games don't actually take up a lot of time. This game also has simplified MOBA game mechanics. This could be a con to some people, but in my opinion, this goes in the pros list. Complicating things isn't really a good thing. Sometimes a game would function just fine, just by keeping things simple, and this game isn't. It could also be considered an entry level to this genre. A genre that is really hostile towards people, especially if you do not know what you're doing. The game auto-assigns bots to an otherwise dead matchmaking session. So far, this is the only game that I saw with such a feature, and it could be, as I mentioned, a precautionary measure taken by the developers in case the game had few players and would have otherwise halted progression by the current players. Lastly, it has a light monetary effect. Aside from having a few boosts and Guardian unlocks, it is nice that you can't really buy your power, meaning even with boosts, you still have to play in order to gain the advantages. And now for the cons. The Relic and Blessing system. This could also be on the pros list of some people, but I believe this belongs in the cons because having advantages over other people, aside from just player skill, especially new players, could be really considered a con. It just won't be fair if someone has an edge over someone who hasn't unlocked those yet. I think Dota 2 does things better in this aspect. Although one could argue that these give the player a sense of being special in that he or she has played longer and worked hard, but this could also be done by simple cosmetics. Next, the myriad of crashes. This being a rather new game, it is expected to be a bit buggy. I had a lot of random crashes even just after I ran the game. During the loading screen, a dialog box appeared stating the error and just exits. This could be fixed in the future though, I think. Next, we have community shortage. Games like these have a need of players to play with or against. But having lots of attempts at multiplayer games and only succeeding ones shows that this game is really lacking in players. This could be a case of oversaturation. There are a ton of MOBAs out there attempting to copy the success of Dota 2 and League of Legends, but most aren't really succeeding. In conclusion, Tome is a real simple MOBA that players who are generally unfamiliar with the genre could easily understand. The simplified mechanics are there to ensure that new players to the genre aren't blasted with so many information and choices that they just walk away at the end. Although some hardcore MOBA players from games like Dota or League of Legends may think it's a bit shallow and lacks complexity, there are others there that has the things they love about MOBAs. They should probably look for those games. This game, however, is a nice simple game that deserves your attention if you were looking into going into this genre. So that's all for now. Thanks for listening guys, and we'll see you next time.